5. What is the prognosis for the PAP, the WP, and the PSP? The PAP can claw back support, at least in terms of regaining part of the popular vote it lost, but it has to address concretely the serious concerns that led some voters moving away from the party in GE 2020, accentuated by the pernicious effects of the pandemic. These remedies include ensuring that wages keep up with the rising cost of living, improving job security, coming up with a viable solution to HDB lease decay, adopting measures to allow Singaporeans greater access to their CPF monies, and so on. For the WP, it might be too cliched to suggest that its ability to enlarge its parliamentary presence is only constrained by the size of its ambitions. It is not as simple as that. There are a number of factors to consider when looking at the WP's prospects at the next election. Even if the PAP makes a fight back at the national level, as it now appears to be doing, the WP would not be too adversely affected as it retains an effective localized strategy concentrated largely on the east of the island. Also, the WP's approach is to knit together a coalition of voters across most demographics. It will not attempt to put together an unrealistic coalition across the alternative parties when the strength of the parties is so uneven and the policies and approaches to opposition so different. That will merely dilute the WP's identity and erode its electoral prospects. Moving on to the PSP, the question is whether the two PSP NCMPs can return to Parliament as fully elected MPs and whether they will bring other PSP candidates with them. To answer that question, we should look at recent history for guidance. It would indicate that if you were a WP NCMP, your chances of becoming a fully elected MP are 80%. On the other hand, if you were an NCMP from another party, then your chances of returning to Parliament are severely limited. The PSP lacks branding, and with no fully elected MPs, it will be a major challenge for the party to establish a viable presence on the ground in West Coast GRC. And the possibility of the PSP establishing a tacit alliance with the WP is somewhat doubtful at this stage. After initial comments by the WP leadership of cooperating with the PSP, that early unqualified support appeared to have been dialed back somewhat when the new leader of the opposition gave his maiden speech in Parliament. The support is now more equivocal and conditional. The fact is that there are significant policy differences between the PSP and the WP, and these differences cannot be papered over. The other alternative parties, mostly fringe elements, will likely be shut out because they will be denied the oxygen of publicity. They can only rely mostly on social media. The mainstream media will likely follow what is the general convention globally, that only political parties which have a legislative presence should get media coverage. If you're talking about the maturing of Singapore's politics, that indeed should be the way forward by following established international practice. Let me leave it there. Thank you.